Hello and welcome back to my office. I am super excited for today's video because we are going to be talking about my favorite cheap gardening hacks. So I love to save money. I do not necessarily like spending money more than I feel like I need to. So over the years I have found a few ways to help save money in the garden. When it comes to seed starting, when it comes to what you're growing in, where you're getting your supplies for gardening, and just all kinds of stuff. So let's get started with this list. So the first thing on the list of cheap gardening hacks is actually the dollar store planter. Now these are, I think at this point, in store only. I tried to find the link to them on their website and could not find it. So that leads me to believe that they're only available in store now. I know at one point they were available online, but you had to order them by a case, and a case had 36 levels in it. So $36 for a case of 36, that's a lot of growing space, but you probably don't need that many. I bought mine last year and I actually ordered them online, and last year the case was only 12, and so I actually did order a case. I have a video where I talked about how I kind of assembled it, and I will put the link to that down below. I really like this planter. It's great for things that have a more shallow root system. I would not suggest using this for things that need more root space. I had really good success with things like lemon balm, chives did really well. I did a few lettuce greens and they did pretty okay. I think I maybe sowed those two close together. Arugula did great in these, and flowers just in general did pretty well. So anything that needs like a shallower pot, these would be perfect. The next thing on the list is Facebook Marketplace. Now, I have not personally gotten a ton of stuff off of Facebook Marketplace, but I know people that have. There are people out there who have just piles of stuff and they will post on Facebook, come get this, or $5 for whatever. Things like tea posts, things like cattle panels, things like all types of planters, whether it's like raised garden boxes or if it's just pots or any type of like galvanized buckets. You know, you can find those on Facebook Marketplace quite a bit. Those things are great to plant in. You can also sometimes find people trying to get rid of just things that they don't want, and you can find like partially used bags of potting soil, garden tools, just all kinds of things. So look around your area on Facebook Marketplace and see if there's any of that out there, because it's very possible that you could get pretty much everything you needed to create a nice garden with little to no money if you can find it on Facebook Marketplace. The next thing is the grow lights that I use for my indoor seed starting. Now I have a video where I talked about my indoor seed starting setup, and I will put a link to that below. I use lights from Menards, and they are just LED shop lights. They just plug in, they don't have to be hardwired. I know that Menards is a very like regional store, but I do know that people have found lights very similar to the ones that I use at like Walmart, Lowe's, and probably like Home Depot also. I will put a link to the lights I use below. They are the Smart Electrician brand. They are 3000 lumens and 4000 Kelvin. So lumens is the brightness of the light, Kelvin is the temperature of the light. So you want a light that is as bright as you can get it. My lights are 3000 lumens, which is not super bright. They make lights that go up to like 6000 lumens. I just use more of them. The lights I use are like $14 a piece, and Menards pretty much always has an 11% mail-in rebate, so you can get them even cheaper. The lights I use are also 4000 Kelvin, which is just on the cusp of being that daylight bright light color, which is what you want. You want something between like 3500 and like 5000-ish. There is some play in that. You can go higher or a little bit lower, but your plants may need more or less light depending on the color. So keep that in mind. It's always kind of a fun experiment to see what works when it comes to seed starting. In years past, I actually used one of those kind of finger lights from Amazon with the red and the blue, and that did not work well at all. And then last year I actually switched to these Menards lights, and I've been super happy with them. The ones I have are LEDs. They are cool to the touch. I leave them on for anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day, depending on where I am in the season, and they are never hot to the touch. They just plug in. I have a surge strip on the side of my plant shelf that I plug everything into, and I can easily come down and just turn the power strip on or off, and it will turn all the lights on or off. The next thing on the list is actually one of my favorite places to order garden supplies from, and it is Greenhouse Megastore. So all of my 10-20 trays, all of my tray inserts, and all of my pots have come from Greenhouse Megastore. I will say one thing that I don't love about Greenhouse Megastore is their shipping prices are a little bit steep, but when you think about it, the things that they are shipping get big pretty fast. You know, one set of 10-20 trays is pretty big, and add tray inserts and pots on top of that, and you are looking at a huge box to ship. So that's the only thing that I don't love about them, but otherwise the quality of their stuff and the price that they sell their stuff for is amazing, and I am very impressed with them. I will continue to use them like forever because I just really like them. I really like their products. And I have done a video of a Greenhouse Megastore unboxing. I will put a link to that down below. That was my first Greenhouse Megastore order, and since then I've done a couple more, and I've been impressed with them every single time. The next thing on my list is where you're getting your seeds. If you are starting from seed, maybe you're just starting out and you don't want to spend a ton of money on seeds, there are so many places out there where you can buy seeds that are maybe a little bit cheaper than some of the more popular seed companies. I do think that sometimes seed companies get hyped up, and people struggle to realize that there are more seed companies out there than just the big few. So some of my favorites right now are Mary's Heirloom Seeds. I actually got my first order from her last weekend, and I was very impressed. She actually included a whole sheet about how to start every type of seed that she sells, which I thought was really cool. Her prices are really great, and her shipping was really competitive. So I really like that. The next one is MIGardener. Their seeds are all $2 or less, I think, and they are in Michigan. So if you are a Midwestern gardener, they are relatively local. Their shipping times usually are pretty quick for me here in Indiana because they're just coming south. The next seed company is Seeds Now, and I actually had never really heard of them until last fall. I ordered some things from them, and I really like them. They sell what are called sample packs of seeds for like 99 cents, and they will have, you know, 10 to 15 seeds if they're a larger seed, and like 50 seeds or so if it's a smaller seed. And they sell their seeds in tiny little resealable plastic bags, which I very much appreciate. Now the seed packs themselves don't necessarily have a ton of information. Actually, they have like no information. It's basically just the name of whatever the seed is for. But, you know, the internet is a thing that exists. And so I feel pretty confident to buy seeds from Seeds Now because I have the ability to easily just like grab my phone or get on my laptop and Google whatever variety I'm looking at. So they also have a pretty wide variety of selection of seeds. So that's a really good place to check out. If you need to maybe like restock on some seeds, or if you want to try a new variety before you buy like a big pack, that's a place to check out. The next one is the Dollar Tree, actually. So Dollar Tree sells packs of seeds. They are 4 for $1. I will say that you don't get a ton of seeds in the seed packets. I actually opened up a pack of pepper seeds I got at Dollar Tree to test and found there were 5 seeds in my packet. Now, assuming I get a couple plants out of that, I can easily save seeds from those peppers and I will have tons of seeds for next year. But keep that in mind if you are buying seeds at a store like Dollar Tree. Some of the higher value seeds like peppers, tomatoes, eggplants, things like that, you may not be getting as many seeds as you think you are. And the last place I'm gonna list for now is Menards again. They sell burpee seeds. I know that other stores also sell burpee seeds. So Burpee is a huge national seed brand. They sell seeds on their website and they also sell seeds in store. I prefer to buy burpee seeds in store because they actually sell them cheaper in stores versus on their website. So keep that in mind. If you're looking at burpee online, maybe try to go to a store and see if you can get the same seeds for cheaper buying it at a store. The next thing on my list is compost, and I just kind of got into compost last year, but I started my own compost bin. I actually made my own compost bin. If you are new here, I live on less than 1/4 of an acre in the middle of town, and I have a compost bin. It is made with an outdoor rated plastic storage tub. I just drilled some holes all around it and started filling it up with stuff, and I now have compost to use in my garden. It's not a lot, but it is enough to get me started, and I'm hoping to maybe upgrade my compost setup this year. But if you're just starting out, I think that container was less than $10, and that's a great way to get started with compost and not necessarily have to buy a compost tumbler and all this other stuff. And I actually have a video from when I made that tumbler. I will post a link to that below. That video is about more than just the compost tumbler, but I do actually show you how I drilled the holes and all of that. The next thing on my list is actually winter sowing, which this is something that I just tried this year for the very first time, but I am very impressed. Last weekend I actually went and I planted some more things in some different types of containers to try outside, and I'm super excited to see how they do. So winter sowing essentially takes the indoor seed starting setup and takes it outside. So you don't have to worry about having heat mats and trays and pots and lights and all of that. You just plant your seeds in a milk jug, put them outside, and wait. Now, this does not necessarily work with things like tomatoes and peppers that like the heat, but it does work with things like spinach, kale, lots of types of spring flowers, things that are okay with cooler temperatures. So keep that in mind. I did make a video about winter sowing. I'll put the link to that down below. It was my first time doing winter sowing. I will for sure be doing it more in the future because I really like it, and I really think it's a super simple and economical way to get gardening. The next one is seed saving. Now, I will admit I am not the best at seed saving, but certain things I am. So last year I saved the seeds from a couple different varieties of peppers and a couple different varieties of pole beans. I have tons of seeds for both of those things now. So I have plenty of seeds to last me seemingly forever from the pole beans in particular, because I went a little overboard with seed saving from those plants. But it's very easy to do for things like beans. You just leave the beans on the plant until they are dry and crispy, and then you just break them open and take the bean seeds from the inside of the pods and let them dry out more and then store them for next year. It's a great way to get, I mean, basically free seeds. Like, I paid for 1 packet of seeds, and I basically will never have to buy rattlesnake pole bean or purple potted pole bean seeds again. So, not necessarily mad about that. And the last thing on my cheap gardening hacks list is seed storage. Now, I know a lot of people rave about the photo storage boxes from Michaels, and I think you can also get them at Walmart. Those are great. I do not have one of those, but I think they're cool. I store my seeds in a plastic shoebox. You can get these at Walmart for like $2, and basically all I do is I take an index card with a post-it note stuck to it, and I write like beans, herbs, tomatoes, peppers, that type of thing on it, and then I stack my seeds behind them. They fit perfectly horizontal in there, with a little bit of room to move around. I keep my seed saving baggies in there, and a pen and a sheet of labels to go on the bags, and then I can easily carry my seeds around. Now, I will say that my seed collection is getting quite large, and the plastic shoebox I have is almost full. So if you have a larger seed collection, this may not work. But if you are just starting out and you just have a few packs of seeds, or maybe you have a few varieties of some different things, a plastic shoebox may be perfect for you. You may actually already own one that you're not using, and just repurpose it. It keeps them airtight, it keeps the moisture off of them, and if you are living in a place that's not super humid for most of the year, like I am, this is the perfect solution to keep your seeds safe for a very cheap price. So that is my list of my 9 favorite cheap gardening hacks. Now, you know, we're all on different budgets, but these are some of the things that I have found over the years that I really like using, and I will continue to use. So I hope that this maybe helped you, maybe it inspired you to do things differently or find a new place to buy seeds or supplies. If there's anything else that you do in your garden that would be considered like a cheap gardening hack, let me know. I would love to hear about it. I would love to learn some other ways to save money in the garden. And so, yeah, that's my list. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.